You're not gonna do your live your little music thing.
Oh, after some technical difficulties, we are.
Technical difficulties.
Good morning, recovery.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Pastor Tim returns.
Finally.
Francesca and Alex.
Andrea.
Andrea.
Andra.
Andra.
Angie. Shout out to Angie giving me that name. Andra.
Andra?
Oh,
Andra.
oh my goodness.
I
Do that
love
again.
Andra.
it. She's so funny. I miss her so much. Good morning,
you.
everyone. I hope everyone here in Page County and surrounding areas are doing great, waking up to a happy Wednesday morning. It's actually beautiful outside. The past couple of days has been gorgeous. I hope everybody's getting outside and enjoying the sun. And yeah, we have a great table here with us this morning. Great visitors.
A very nice panel we have for you today.
We do, and we have some hot topics that we're bringing to you this morning. Please chime in with your comments this morning and let us know what's going on in your world out there. So, how is everyone this morning?
How are we doing?
Good.
Pastor
Okay.
Tim, let's
My
start with
heater
you.
Didn't wait until I hit the railroad tracks this time.
Well, it was a little warmer this morning, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
I think
was
the
so
last
cold.
morning. The last morning you was here, it was like what, -2?
It was like
it was like that.
negative too much.
Yeah, this morning was a little better,
A
right?
little better. Yep.
Yeah. So how have you been? How's
Good.
life?
It's busy, but good.
Yeah. What's
Yeah.
going on? What's busy?
Well, honestly, as we all know, getting into that forever family and recovery, there's a lot of things that, once we open that door, there's a lot in the jail ministry too. So I finally know where CVRJ is now.
Awesome.
Am I not
Pull that
loud
mic to
enough?
you just a little
Yeah,
bit.
just a little. There you go.
There
There we
you go.
So yeah, I had to drive down, get a guy that just got released, and then get him to a place where at CVRJ to wait for his ride.
That's awesome.
So
I've done that before too. Tell me how you use your time with these individuals in your vehicle.
well, a lot of that time is just kind of talking about what's your plan, what's your day plan, week plan, month plan. Kind of again, just encouraging them not to take the easy path, trying to get back into and going back into what they know, which is what got them in trouble to begin with.
Exactly.
By again numbing issues that got them in trouble, and then just encouraging them to continue to seek the Lord and trust Him, even in the unknown, that He's going to take care of them. And so,
Yeah.
is it still not?
Well, when you come, if you come close here or a little bit down, when they're in the in their vehicle, there you
Yes.
go.
There
Yeah.
you go.
That's where you
I
want to
know
be.
it's uncomfortable,
That's a sweet
but when you're in the car and you listen to us, you'll see what I mean when we turn our face when we're talking and you
Yeah.
come back. It's very irritating in the vehicle. Listen to us today after we do. You'll hear what I mean, and then every time you come, you'll be like, okay,
So-
I get what they mean. Everybody to the mic.
Did you just tell me I was irritating?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Never.
But
Wow.
You just
So,
gotta.
so this dude that's in your vehicle and
Mm-hmm.
and you picking him up and everything, you guys are going over your life, your game plan for life, or with him. Um, do you mention Jesus?
Oh, absolutely. Well,
I
I mean,
mean,
they only
obviously
know me
so.
because of usually the jail ministry
Right.
or the Celebrate Recovery.
Right.
So what do they do? Do they stay in contact with you while they're locked up and they're like, Pastor Tim, I'm getting out on Tuesday. I don't have a ride home. And
Well, that's a good point. So a lot of them, actually, one of them just found me yesterday on Facebook, who just got out, and then of course Troy got out, and he's already messaged me,
Awesome.
trying to get him some stuff at the church. I know he's a Jamon chef, and so a lot of them they'll find me on Facebook, or I'll give them my phone number. I'll just give them my card with my cell phone number and say,
Mhm.
hit me up as soon as you get out. Stay in contact. I say with the guys, I was like, if you let me in, I'm kind of like the pit bull. I don't let go. If you want me in and you open the door, I'm not forcing myself in, but
Yeah.
and it can come across too, because I have had one guy who's confessed. He's like, I was ashamed when he relapsed, and I didn't want to hurt. I felt ashamed to come to you. And I said, well, he said, because I respect you,
Right.
and you've done a lot for me, and I understand that, but I don't want that. I want you to, in humility say, I relapsed.
Yeah,
Okay,
definitely.
well, let's deal with that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what the trigger was, what the
Mhm.
environment was. How can we deal with? Is it a certain place, a certain atmosphere, a certain person? Can we avoid that?
Right.
If you can't, do you need me to come with you? Do you need, do you need to call first or call while you're doing it? So I think a
Right.
lot of it is just having. I think a lot of times before we went live, Francesca said, a lot of people in recovery feel like they're alone.
Yes.
They think that they're doing this alone, and that's why when you guys are promoting, whether it's Celebrate Recovery, Free Indeed, or the other ministry opportunities out there. One thing that I love about Celebrate Recovery is we call it Forever Family.
Yes.
That 2 a.m. friend, that you can call and say, hey, I'm really struggling.
Yes.
And we're not trying to fix each other. Only God can do that. And so when these guys, when they're getting out, and I tell them, look me up on Facebook, phone call, like I said, and then I just leave it in their court.
Yeah.
But so that's kind of where I'm at with that.
I think, I think the beautiful thing about all of our different things that are going on here in the county is it's not only about Celebrate Recovery, it's about every single meeting. We're
Exactly.
starting to come together. And
Yep.
that's the beautiful thing that I'm recognizing. Free Indeed is starting to bleed over into Celebrate Recovery. And so as with Celebrate Recovery with Free Indeed. And I think that 23 West Main and even the Harrisonburg and Elkton meetings are all starting to come together. We're actually starting to talk about meetings here in Stanley, which like bigger meetings. I know we have some at the library that aren't as big. And we have obviously our meeting here on Saturday mornings at the Female House. But we're looking at maybe getting a larger space here in Stanley so that we can have a once a week meeting that is here in Stanley too, because we have the Shenandoah, the Luray. We need something once a week here in Stanley.
There was a
as
guy
well.
Free Indeed last night from where? Culpeper?
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh no.
it was
Oh.
gosh.
Oh no, it wasn't
Culpeper.
Culpeper.
Further away. Let's
Further.
go with that.
No, I think
it wasn't
Timberville
Culpeper. It was
area.
no, because
It
he
was
didn't
like
say Gainesville. He didn't say
McGaheysville.
nope. It's not that either.
Yeah,
but
it was.
we'll just no.
Yep, because I know the guy. It's Timberville, McGaheysville area.
I
It's-
swear he said Culpeper.
No,
It wasn't
it's not-
Culpeper either.
no.
He gave it.
It's
Anyway.
actually Michael Fry, and it's his ministry. It's his pastor. They're over,
Mechanicsville.
It's
it was
McGahee.
Mechanicsville.
It's
Out by Richmond.
Yeah, it was Mechanicsville. Look at it. I know. Fuck,
it's
figure this out.
It's Michael Fry and them, but it might be Richmond area
Yeah, it was
because he is going to
Mechanicsville,
Richmond today, so
Mechanicsville.
maybe it is Richmond area.
Well, I made Culpeper up then.
Yeah. It's
Well,
No,
okay.
it's an actual place.
Culpeper's trying to do it too, but Michael Fry's actually we're working on getting him here on the table as well, and it's his people. So maybe we
So-
can work on getting him here as well.
And correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm almost a year and a half old, okay, in this area. And so when I started with Free Indeed and Celebrate Recovery and then First Steps to Freedom, you're right. I'm seeing a bleeding in. It's becoming more, we're a community, right? And I love the way that you put it as a forever family, because I'm participating in all these groups, but what I'm seeing is not only the growth, but yeah, the familiar faces coming to each one, which I think is amazing. And I've gotten the chance and opportunity to sit with you, with these guys. And I watch you.
And tonight she's giving her testimony part 2 at the jail.
Yes. But I love the way that you are such a big, loving brother. Like you're a big brother to these guys. They're like, and I think they look up to you in that aspect. And it is right. It probably is. It's the devil's shame, right? Or trauma that creates us that loneliness, that shame that we don't want to confess to you because you're such a good example. But
these groups are bringing they're bringing everybody together. It's making it. I feel like it's making it easier for these people to make connections and maybe, like I said, to get rid of some of that shame.
I'm trying to clarify
You know what I mean?
that
Like
right now
it's making it.
because we don't like giving out
wrong information.
wrong information. So I'm trying to clarify with Michael now where the pastor is from.
It's making it easier to come clean and talk about these things. Like I said, because you see the same people at all these meetings, and you've known them for years, and it's like, man, I'm not the only one going through this. I'm not the only one struggling. I'm not the only one. You know what I mean? Like it's for me anyway. I see it's just it's easier to talk than, because like I said, I was in that same boat. I didn't want to tell anybody when I would relapse or when I would, I mean, I was always super ashamed. But now it's like I said, I've got a group of friends that I know, like would,
Yeah, I love the
Support
fact
me.
that I have family and friends that will pray over me, with me, and I feel like heaven comes to fight for me. And I know I'm seeing what God's doing by, bringing. There was a point I had no contact, no legal contact with my children, with my parents.
Mm-hmm.
It was shut off in a way. And I've sat in these groups and they have prayed with me for these things to be restored, and it's happening.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, and
Absolutely.
and for me personally, I was always totally opposite from all of you that share your side of like you know, the shame and the guilty. I was always totally opposite on every single relapse. I was always out and open with. I'm such an out and open, honest person. I am just so like bluntly honest with my
We love that
relapses,
about
and this
you.
is who I am, and yes, I did it, and this is and it was just so
Immediately though, like you would get high and
immediately,
tell
my
everybody.
parents would look at me and say, "You're on it today, aren't you?" "Yes, I am." "Sure am, honey."
I love
You know,
Hallelujah.
I'm so just bluntly raw and just scary, really, because that's who I am. And to this day, that's who I am. But I am a withdrawal person. So when I relapse, I always withdraw from everyone. Everyone knows when I'm on it. I do
Mhm.
not hide it. I get on Facebook and I that's why when people look at me and like if I lose a little bit of weight here and there when I fast or something, they'll be like, "She's on it." And my daughters are like, "No, she's not. You guys will know if my mother's ever on it. Trust me." Her Facebook will tell you, because I'm just not, I'm carefree, like careless, I guess you would
Yes.
say. And so yeah, I'm a little different. And thankfully, thank God that hopefully, because I never want to be too you don't ever want to act too proud. You never want to say
Overconfident.
I'm never going to go back. I will fight with every ounce of me that I have to never go back to that life.
There you
Yes.
go.
And I pray every day, and I'm thankful of where we're at. So that's my personal
Me too.
where I'm
So
at.
many people say, "Oh, relapse is just a part of recovery."
Mm.
And I am praying to God that he stays forefront in this for me, because I would love to be the one that doesn't have that as part of my story.
Right,
And I have not thus far.
right,
Look, thanks be to God.
right.
But I do stay very cautious in my
Proactive.
life. I
Yep.
get up, I pray in the mornings.
Yeah, we have to. We
I
have
give thanks
to.
in the mornings. I even pray over my enemies, and then I just pray over this.
That's right.
Because I don't want that in my future.
It's very it's a fight,
And
and people need to understand that. That's why we have to say, like you said earlier, if you get out here and relapse, do not be ashamed
Yes.
to come to us and let's talk about it. We have got to come up with a solution. You don't understand how much you're helping me by me helping you. We're helping each other, sharpening each other, helping each
Iron
other.
sharpens iron.
It's a big deal
And
to
it's
be here for each other.
motivation.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
motivation.
Definitely. We got to be here for each other. This is a fight that we've got to be here for each other through. So
And we are, like I said, that with like I said, it's so cool to see how all these people are coming together. The other day I was having a
Absolutely.
hard day, and Terry from up there in Elkton,
Yeah.
out of nowhere, messages me, send me a real nice piece of scripture. Like it was right on time too.
Right.
Like I was having a terrible day, and he just out of nowhere, "Hey man, you were kind of on my mind. Everything okay?" I was like, "Wow,
wow.
Nice.
really?"
You needed that.
Yeah,
But
like
his,
it was.
but his participation too
Shout
in
out, Terry.
listening,
Thank you, buddy. Love
to
you.
God's call and then doing it.
Yeah,
So
he's
often
great.
we don't listen to his call, and we don't know how we're actually, impeding his work. Like we need to all get with the program. And I'm so proud of you for saying that you just outright with it. Because what's the worst that happens when you say, "Yeah, I did relapse"?
Yeah.
Did anything
yeah,
bad
you
happen
have to.
afterwards?
Yeah.
Or were you
guess-
able
no.
to pick back up?
The hard part for me,
No.
I guess, was being on probation too, because you don't. If that's
You
the
don't
last-
know what the
that's the
outcome
last
is.
thing I
And
It's
wanna
a
do is
different
to-
monster.
Yeah.
That's a very different monster, and that's something I never personally have went through. But I don't even see myself even carrying at that with that neither myself
Now-
because
Now I know
different.
that even then I should have been honest, because like, see, you hide it
Yes.
from me, they're gonna find out. You're gonna get
That you're gonna
tested.
know.
You know what I mean? Like,
yes. And
just
things
be
are set up
honest.
a little different now. Now with probation, you have so many chances. You're able to get resources to get the help that you need. Things are being changed.
Yep.
Right among us.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
It is.
Now, Chess, I never got to you. How is your day?
Oh, thank
Tell us about your day.
So I won't kid you. It started off different, you
Mm.
know? So I did my prayers. I said my thanks. I did my routine. And then I knew, because it was still different, that I had to turn to music. That for me is what changes and lifts me.
I
We
love it.
talked about that before.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Music
music.
is a big deal.
Yes. And the right music,
Mhm.
by the way.
Yep.
Okay. And so
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah, because the wrong music can lead you down to a worse day,
Yeah,
or just an unsettled day.
Put an energy out that it can either take you
We've
up
talked
or bring
about
you
that.
down. Yep.
Yeah, but like you guys say, you keep it raw, and so I'll just tell you, my heart really went out for Tony today. Tony's my sister's husband, and he is battling a giant that they call cancer, and it's at stage 4 level, and I felt for him. I not only had prayed for him earlier, but all of a sudden through my music, this song, I raise a hallelujah,
Love it.
comes
ahead.
on. And I'm like, okay, God, I'm listening. And I just started listening to how the creator even created the song. And it was during the night
Wow.
before Christmas Eve. A family, their church family, their son had been medevaced out and was possibly going to lose his life. And
That's
he caught himself sitting in this hospital, and this song came to him. He's going to raise a hallelujah in the presence of his enemies.
yes.
Heaven's going to come and fight for me. And I just started texting my sister and Tony, and I said, you're not in this alone.
Yes.
We're in this. This is going to be
I needed
ours.
to hear it.
And whatever the devil is, whatever that sword is that he's
Mhm.
pointing at you, yeah, it's your body going through it, but heaven's going to fight for you. So it really changed my perspective on the day, and I feel empowered.
Wow.
I'm happy.
That's awesome,
Yeah.
Jess. So
Awesome.
it leads us right into one of the discussions of today, and that is praising through hard times. So I actually had something happen to me this week personally, and that is the other day I was going through a really hard day, and that has been a lot here lately for me. Hard days. Most of you know that with A Fresh Cleaning Services, we had to lay off 9 individuals. It's been really, really tough for us. And the other day, I was in the parking lot in Luray, and my oldest daughter calls me, and she's like, "Where are you at?" I'm like, "I'm just sitting here at the gym in the parking lot, And she's like, "Well, I'm coming out of the gym. Let's go walk in this new store, the label store." And I'm like, "Chelsea, I really do not feel like going shopping. I don't have the extra cash to go shopping. I don't feel like." And she's like, "Come on, you need to go." So we walk into Labels, or is it called Labels?
I don't know.
Label shoppers. Yeah, that new store in Luray. And I go in there for the first time, and I'm like, "Oh, it's pretty cool. I like it." Yeah, walking around. We go to leave, and there's this big table full of shoes, and it says $3.50. And I'm like, and Chelsea's like, "Look, Mom, $3.50. Nice boots and nice shoes." And I'm like, "Huh, we got to get these for the community." And she's like,
Oh.
"Yeah, we should." I was like, I'm going to get the whole table. I mean, of course, if the other people in here want to buy them, let them, but we're going to get these for the community, for the girls and the women who need shoes here. So we go ahead and get the whole table, and we load it up. And the first place that came to my mind was the rec center. And we go over to the rec center, and we take all this out. And in my heart, I'm thinking, I need to get in the car and just go to the beach for a couple of days and get out of here. This has been on my mind for weeks now, to just get away. I'm always like this, though. I mean, y'all seen in my posts. I'm always run away. But I really am at a place in my mind where it's like, I'm not even really wanting to run away. I think I just need to get away for just a couple of days. So you got to really learn in your mind to, tell the difference of
Yes.
when you need to get away or when you're actually running away. And I'm at a place where I know I need to just get away for a couple of days. I need a break. So that's where I'm actually planning on doing today after our podcast, is I am planning on getting away for a couple of days. I need it. I know it. I need to go pray by myself. I need to be by myself. Thank God that I have the resources and the people around me that love me, that are helping me to be able to do that. However, in the store down there, as we're doing this, I'm telling myself, but this is so beautiful to not go away today and to be able to help these women here in the community. So we're unloading these shoes in the wreck, and women are already coming in because the word's already getting out. Shoes at the wreck.
Yeah.
Come to the wreck. The guys
Women
are
in their
already calling their
shoes.
moms and everything. They're coming in. It's so nice, and it's so beautiful. And to see my oldest daughter unload these shoes and to help, it was a beautiful thing. And I'm so grateful and praising through the hard times, even with other people, not being around us every day here at the house. Our most of our team has went and got other jobs, and it's been so difficult to not know day by day what we're doing, who we're going around, like where we're working. Like it's just been every day is just like a big question mark. Um, I'm still praising God, still thankful. $3.50 and a lot of the shoes were $2.50. What in the
Praise God.
world?
Yeah, that's
Was that not
wonderful.
God?
That was cool.
That was crazy. So anyway, tell me about a time. Let's go around the table. Go ahead, Alex.
Yesterday, like I said, I was just having a rough day, and it like when Terry messaged me that scripture, man, I've got it right here. It was like I said, it seems to me like it's always comes right on time, even when I'm not. Like that's the last thing on my mind. It's like it's like there it is, and it's always exactly what you need to hear. Just like Free Indeed last night, they hit me with some stuff like we were talking. Remember we were talking about doubling back and everything like that, and then we go to Free Indeed and he's talking about doubling back. There's a circle with arrows talking about self-sabotage coming back, and it's always right on time every time. Where is he? There he is. He hit me with 2 Corinthians. If I love you more, will you love me less?
Read it.
That was cool. Well, that's what that says. But then I'll read the message. I hope Terry didn't mind. I know he doesn't. Natural love expects to be returned, but Paul didn't care if he was loved by those he served. He was willing to be ridiculed and overlooked, to be made poor and humble, just so long as he was bringing people to God. For you know the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ, that though he was rich, yet for your sake he became poor. 2 Corinthians. Giving his all wasn't a burden for Paul. It was a joy. I will very gladly spend for you everything I have and expend myself as well.
This is Andrea. Relates to Andrea.
Yeah. I mean, it's like
It's amazing.
it's always right on time. The way
Yeah.
Jesus thinks about service is not the way the world thinks about it. Jesus Christ out socialists. He says that in his kingdom, the greatest will be the servant of all. Matthew 23:11. The real test for us lies not in preaching the gospel, but in washing feet,
Wow.
in doing the things that are little esteemed by the world, but count for everything with God. Paul didn't care what God's interest in other people cost him. The instant God asks us to serve, we start making calculations. God wants me to go there, we say. What about the salary? What about the weather? A sensible person has considered these things. When we think like this, we're being selfish and cautious about how we serve God. Paul was never cautious. He embodied Jesus' idea of a New Testament disciple, one who not only proclaimed the gospel, but became, for the sake of others, broken bread and poured out wine in the hands of Jesus Christ. Is he going to help himself to your life, or are you taken up with your conception of what you are going to do? God is responsible for our lives, and the one great keynote is reckless reliance upon him. That's
There
what
we
Terry
go.
said.
Wow.
It all like I said,
No.
there's something in there for everybody, right?
Yes.
Right.
And that's
Right.
how God works. So multi-leveled.
It was really cool.
Yeah.
But it brought me out, and I was like, man, that's what I'm missing today. I need to pray.
Yeah.
So I was driving down the
beautiful.
road right there. I was praying
Wow.
for
And that's beautiful. And I mean, Chess, you're talking about your praising through the hard times with your brother-in-law.
Yeah.
And I mean, what about you, Pastor? What's a hard time that you went through personally that you found yourself praising him through that? Have you experienced that? I mean, surely God, you have, but have you? Like, can you tell us
What I
about a
don't.
time?
Well, I mean, I'll just be transparent. It was about 4 months ago, Sunday morning. I was having a really, really bad mental day. And I had another guy in the church who's been wanting to share his music. So actually I called him up. I said, tell you what, I'm taking off the day. Sunday morning. I'm
Yeah.
taking off the day. I called my deacon. I was like, I've got to take today off. I'm sorry. I can't do today. And I called Jeremiah. I said, hey man, you do the service today. You do your music. And I actually went down to Sperryville, and it's like the wine shop, coffee shop duo. So
Yeah.
I got a coffee, and then it was warm enough. So, I mean, it's been probably the fall, and I just sat back in the back where the creek is, whatever, and just sat there for hours in the
Yeah.
word and listening to music, and I was just having a mental day. You know, people who I kind of told the people, I need a day.
Yeah.
Even Jesus.
I remember this.
Even
I was
Jesus,
I was
that's
at Celebrate
right.
Recovery that week. I remember you
Yeah.
telling us about this.
Yeah, so I just needed a day to get away, because I mean, you see Jesus getting away. You see, when you talk about that, like how you said, run away versus like kind of like revive of the spirit.
Yes.
And you really need to. I had a pastor tell me, he's like, every pastor needs every year. Like
Yes.
he said every month you should like take an afternoon, and it's like every year you've got to take a week.
Yeah,
Or,
I couldn't imagine what you guys go through, because I know us in this work, we have to take this time, and it's hard for us. I mean, us. So I can't imagine you guys in pastor. You guys are actually in my prayer list in bold, the pastors in our community and across the country, because you guys are really going through it. And because I know what we're going through, walking the walk of recovery ministry. You guys are going through it too. I mean, this is a huge walk that you guys are going through by spreading the word of the Lord and like really recruiting, people.
Yeah.
Like
So-
I guess we're doing that too now.
The weight you guys take on your shoulder, the burden, like I said, all these people coming to you, Pastor Hal, Pastor this.
You need a daily.
lot,
You
I
need a
guarantee it.
daily like
Yeah.
solitude.
Yeah, so like one thing I remember, I've always had this mentality, but I think the late Frank Painter, Andy Seastrom told me, he was like, Frank Painter, one of the words of wisdom that he passed on to him was that every pastor should have the skin of an alligator, and so the water just rolls off, which that
That's
is
hard.
true.
That's hard though.
But for me, this is my 5th year going. Every year, that first week of September, I go down to Nashville. And the Gettys who wrote In Christ Alone and stuff like that. We do a lot of their music in the church. They have this 3 days, and they basically, it's teaching and singing, it's like 2.5 full days. And that's because they were like, the church, like, don't you want to go to these big business meetings? Like, no, I
No,
don't. I'm sorry.
You need
I
like,
need to be refueled, because
Yeah.
I can't lead someone if I'm burned out.
exactly.
And so like, I think a lot of times even in recovery, you don't have to be a leader of the ministry, because as you're talking about this for the family part, because if people are coming to you, you've got to make sure that you are connected to the life source. It's kind of like,
yes,
you know,
that
how-
is. I love that how you just said
and
that.
how many times have we, picked up our phone and we're like on 1%,
Yeah.
right? And spiritually speaking, how many of us are on 1%?
Oh my
Right,
gosh, I
right.
know exactly what you just by
Yeah.
saying that. Like I get it. We need a prayer closet here in the community. Like
Yeah,
a
that'd be a
community
good
prayer
idea.
closet. I know that's their churches really, but I mean, how many of our churches are locked?
We're open 3 days a week, but
I
wish
mean, we
were-
need like an unlocked little hut somewhere. Hut.
Yeah.
Where we can just go in and just like cuddle somewhere and just pray. Can't we have that?
Yeah, and it not be jail, because that was
Yeah,
like
we
my
don't
prayer.
want jail.
That was my prayer closet for
That was
some
the
We
time.
don't want jail.
Yeah.
We just want like a nice little
Exactly.
pretty little sanctuary place unlocked all the time in the mountain.
Hey,
I'd like to have it in the mountain.
yeah, it'd be nice.
Wouldn't it
Up
be
somewhere,
cool?
yes. But I have a moment too, and it just came to my memory. Sitting in jail. When you have the right attitude, it can change your whole trajectory. And so like I know so many of us in the world find ourselves with this like bitter attitude, right? But we can
Yeah.
correct that. We
Yeah.
can be better from what is done to us, because not everything we've done ourselves. It's
Right.
been things that have happened to us. And I remember sitting in jail, and I was like, God, thank you for putting me in jail. And
I've been there.
I say it on Wednesday night.
Yeah.
Sometimes jail's the best thing to happen.
it did. I said, because my family, Tony actually in particular, was like, you're going to die if you keep on this road. I mean, with
Mm.
what is out there and what's happening, I'm fearful we're going to find you dead.
Oh.
And so I sat there in the jail, and I was like, thank you, God, for saving my life.
And he was so
Thank you, God,
right.
for putting my children with my family.
Yeah.
Thank you, God, for having me here and giving me a chance to just lean on you, because I had nobody else to lean on except him. I had no contact really from anyone out there. You were saying your acquaintances out there. Yeah, those are
Mm-mm.
wolves in sheep's
No,
clothing.
they
because
leave you.
none of those were sheep helping me. But
Yeah.
with the right attitude, all of a sudden we started a jail choir.
Yeah.
And the guys in the jail were kind enough to let the ones in the choir come out of our cells every evening after church, and we would praise and worship, is what we would do. And then on Sunday mornings, we would sing to the rest of the inmates.
That's beautiful.
It really was.
Is
Because
that the land of milk and honey?
no? Well, I mean, it is now.
Got
Okay.
that in my notes.
But what I wanted to say was we sang this song that said, I can't remember how it goes, but it's like, I am free, free, forever I'm free.
Yes.
Anyway, here we are standing in jail behind cells singing a bunch of women in orange how we're free. But it's, Christ sets you free.
Yes.
Is
Of
that
all
song
the
on a
supplements.
tablet?
I think we had it printed off and brought in and we sang it. It may have been on the tablet.
We're free.
Free, forever free.
Yeah.
That's
Death
great.
was defeated.
Death
That's the
was
name of the
defeated. It's
song.
on
When
tablet.
death was
Yeah.
arrested.
Death was
Song.
arrested.
Death was
by-
arrested.
by North Point.
Yes. And if you
So
guys
good.
have not heard that song, go
Check
and
it
listen to
out.
North Point when death was arrested. And that was powerful. And that would not have happened had we not praised through our hard times.
Yes.
So
That's
I
awesome.
think one thing that we did a study in Sunday school, and it was Psalm 23. And one thing that Matt Chandler was bringing up is there's that verse in Psalm 23. A lot of times we make it about us. Actually, I was listening to a pastor this morning, yesterday, that a lot of times we will airlift. That's Matt Chandler's phrase. We will airlift a scripture out and completely abuse it. And so he was saying how, and I'm going to correlate the two different pastor statements. So Matt Chandler, so this pastor was saying, a lot of times when we hear that verse, as a deer pants for the water, my soul thirsts for you. And we're like, oh, it's some very nice, calm, serene. And he's like, I'm a hunter. And he's like, the only time that deers pant is when they're running from something.
Yes.
And he's like, if you read the rest of the psalm, it's actually as a deer, like I'm running from my enemies. Like
Mhm.
I'm literally tired. Deers usually don't pant. And he's like, I have been running and running. And you can equate that to recovery. A lot of times
Yes.
running that road is hard sometimes. And so Matt Chandler was talking about Psalm 23. We've made it about us, and it does make it seem like, it's about us, but then there's that phrase, for his name's sake, and John Piper once said that we are God is most glorified in us when we're most satisfied in him.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And so Matt Chandler goes on in Psalm 23 and he says, actually it was Louis Giglio, Passion City Church pastor, and he said there's that phrase, and you'll prepare a table in the midst of my enemies.
Yes.
Right.
Not the enemies are out,
Yes.
in the midst of your enemies. And and it's, so it reminds me a lot. We're talking about praising through the storm, and it reminds me of Elisha. A lot of us know Elijah, but we forget Elisha,
Yes.
who comes later. Elijah gives him, one request, and he says, I want to do double portion, blessing. And so Elijah does 7 miracles. Elisha does 14. Well, Elisha and his messenger Gehazi are walking through this valley. So the way I equate it here is, if you ever stand at Ralph Dean Park, you're literally surrounded by a mountain range. We were talking about David and Goliath earlier. And so what's happening is that God, kind of like we were talking about with Terry, God was giving the enemy's battle plans to Elisha to report to Israel before the enemy even started moving. So it was kind of like he's giving them the cheat codes per se.
Mhm.
And so with that, the enemy is getting angry. Like,
Mhm.
how do they know what we're doing? And then someone's like, well, their prophet Elisha seems to get the, and so they're like, well, let's kill Elisha. Common sense. So they find out where he's at. He's walking in the valley with Gehazi, the messenger, and all of a sudden, surrounding them on the mountaintops, all of a sudden the enemy's armies show up.
I love that.
Yeah, the enemy's army shows. So Gehazi sees this, and he's all concerned and worried. Talking about, like you were talking about, even with recovery court and being open about that. And so Elisha seems to have just calmness.
Mhm.
And so Gehazi's like, how are you calm?
Mhm.
And Elisha's like, well, you don't see what I see.
Look
Mhm.
behind.
And so Elisha prays, God reveal basically what it is. And so then Gehazi looks up and he sees the angel armies
All of them.
surrounding, outnumbering the enemy's armies. And he had assurance, that the Lord was on his side and that there was nothing the enemy could do. So even with that, preparing the table in the midst of the enemy, because, and then my enemies, because we know that the Lord is on our side. So even, coming back into the realm of recovery, if you have those friends who can walk with you, or even if or when relapse does happen, okay, coming and saying, okay, how can we, like, when I sit with people, okay, what, like I said, what are the triggers? What are the things that happened? Okay, when's the last time you were in the Word? When's the last time you were in
Right.
prayer? Because if we try to, do it ourselves, we're not going to be able to.
Yeah,
Can you listen?
that's great.
Because that's exactly what I was picturing this morning, and I'd love for you to just say that one more time, because I look at this man, Tony, who has fought for his country and then retired from fighting for his country to become, a fighter of crime. All right. And then he retired in a special force. Okay. But he's always been this warrior. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so I see him in this valley right now.
Mhm.
But I look at him and I see his peace. And I'm like, okay, this guy's got it. He's got in a good place with God, or he wouldn't have peace. Like, this guy's walking in this valley. And that's why I think it's so powerful when it says heaven comes to fight for me, because I picture all of God's angels that can't be seen, right? By most.
Yeah.
All around on top of this valley, just like
Well, you even see it with Elijah, taking it back to Elijah, he's in the desert, he's praying, and it's 40 days until the ravens come and bring the food. And he's like, the angel shows up and he's like, I've been praying. And he's like, we heard you day one.
yes,
We've been fighting.
Yes.
We've been
here.
fighting
Yes.
Oh my
the
gosh,
demons to get to you. But I think another thing, a story that I tell a lot with peace. So we talked about sanity at Celebrate Recovery on Monday. Insanity is trying to do the same thing over and over again. With expecting different results. Yeah. And Brittany did a good job.
I'm so
She
proud.
did. Go,
I'm so happy
Brittany.
for
She did
her.
really good.
Yeah.
And still looking for volunteers for the next lesson. And so
Andrew,
Alex.
Alex,
you want to come lead the lesson in 2 weeks? You just have to read off the
just say
sheet.
yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Alex.
Of course.
All right. So
Of course he would love to.
I'd
I'm
love
down.
to. This sounds great. I'll put you in there. So there's a story.
I know somebody we can invite.
You know someone we can invite?
Yeah, you do too.
I know a bunch of people we can invite.
I know a ton of people.
Page County.
Okay.
That's right.
Come on out to Celebrate Recovery.
Wait,
That's
wait.
it.
It's gonna be Monday, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be,
Something
well,
like that.
next Monday, because
Not
you have
this-
someone.
Yeah. Well, this one will be testimony, unless someone would like also give their testimony.
Yeah.
Alex,
then-
Are you?
Alex,
ready for
are you
that?
free?
I mean, I had to work on it. I don't know.
You talk to your boss so you can get off.
Well, I mean,
Well, I'm going to that Ignite Men's Conference March 7th and 8th
Oh.
down in Lynchburg.
Nice.
So we
I
better
saw
get
that.
you before then.
Well,
Well,
he
if
can
it's
come
Monday,
after that.
if it's Monday, I'll
Yeah.
be back Sunday.
yeah,
so I
you'll
can
be
do it
back.
Monday.
Yeah.
But there's a story, and the story is that it's some Oriental emperor or whatever, and he decides to have this art competition, and the theme is peace. And so he has this art competition, has all these famous painters come out and paint what their opinion of, or what their idea of peace is. And so they narrow it down to these two master artists, and they paint basically they're the same type of landscape, but they're completely different. And so the first one's something that we all would think something like a Thomas Kincaid photo. It's
Okay.
it's a nice field, the sheep are grazing. You can tell
Sun
there's
is
like a nice little
shining.
wind. There's a waterfall and a sunset, and the birds are flying. I mean, something that we would think of as peace. However, the second painting was polar opposite. And it was like a hurricane was going on. It was black, and it was, the raging. It was like the violence in the waterfall, and the grass is all pushed down. You can tell like this ferocious, fierce wind. It's like I said, it's something like a hurricane is present. And it's very cloudy. There's no sun. I mean, it's just you can tell just a lot of chaos. And so there's like a tree in the back and stuff. And
I lived to this photo one time.
and they the tree's blowing, and so the emperor, I mean, they think it's hands down what's going to happen. So the emperor makes his decision, and he chooses the second picture. And of course, everyone's thinking, kind of like what they were thinking, I think yesterday at the end of your podcast, what was going on, thinking maybe
Yeah.
the emperor was
Yeah.
on something, right? And
That was a crazy one.
Red
Yeah.
punch.
It was fun though.
but Andrew's already told us that you're not on something because we would know.
No.
So
We can drug test each other anytime around here. We have drug tests in the office all the time.
all right, so let's go back to the
Let's go back to the
that story.
hurricane. Yeah.
Yeah. and-
Although we would like to have grants or like donations for drug tests around here because we do that so much. Like it comes out of my pocket.
Yeah, you gave me 2 one time.
Here, Chess, go take
Yeah,
that.
She was like, take another one.
And then Jamie, I'll never forget the day. Was it you and Jamie? Jamie threw one on me one day. Like,
Good for
go
her.
take this. Let's make sure you're not. Because I was
Hold
just,
each other accountable. Hey.
Yes.
so back to the tree.
Yes. Back to the hurricane in the tree.
You brought it up.
yeah, your fault.
I didn't bring up the drug testing. You're the one that went there. I just said what
All
you
right.
said earlier.
What had happened was
What had happened was, so the emperor chose the second one, and so finally, they were like, "Why did you choose the second one?" And he said, "If you look at the painting closely, do you see what's in the tree?" And so in the tree, the artist had painted a bird's nest and had painted a mother bird with its babies. And he said, "Do you notice the facial expression on the mother bird? In the middle of all this chaos, there is peace on the face of the mother bird as she protects her."
Aw.
And he said, "True peace."
So good.
Aw.
He's like, "True peace is not when everything's going great,
yes.
but true peace is when everything is going chaotic and you still have peace."
That is so awesome.
So I think even in
Great
recovery,
story.
I think even recovery, there are those moments. And again, when we talk about recovery, I think again, we got to break this stigma as it's only substance related.
that's right.
And we have a person celebrate recovery, and she is, and again, she has told me, tell my story. What Donna just got her 10-month, and she
Good
struggled
job, Donna.
with
yes,
gambling.
I love Donna.
Yep.
Gambling for 35 years.
Yeah.
And so, when we handed you your coin, we had
Mhm.
2 1-year coins. We had a
Yeah.
3-year coin, your
4
Uncle
year,
Lou,
yep.
4 years.
Yeah.
And I know we were supposed to give another chip out last week, but she was not feeling well. And I think
So
we're
awesome.
right around,
Still not feeling well.
she's still not feeling well. And so I think you're almost up, aren't you?
1 year, 5 months, 17 days today. Just
Wow.
hit
That's
the
right.
button.
She
That's
gets-
so good. Hit the button.
Not that I'm counting or
No,
anything.
not that she's counting.
That's right. Well, we got
4
a year
hours,
and a half.
17
We
minutes,
do have a year and a
36
half
seconds.
coin. We have an 18-month coin.
I know. I'm coming
So
for it.
that's right. You're coming for it. But
That's
I think even
awesome.
with that, in recovery, you will struggle.
Mhm.
You will be tempted, because even if you try, and even if you stay away from those things which drug you down, the enemy is relentless, and he will continue to try to
That's right.
knock you down. He'll send the armies out for you. And he knows what you're. I don't like fishing. I don't, but I've been taught that I have a lure in my office that was given to me when I did a funeral for Mike Hammer a couple years back. And that was his favorite lure. And I don't, again, it's still in the little case or what a package, but I've been told that certain fish like certain bait.
Yes, they do.
And so, like I say all the time, my bait is eating away my emotions. Methamphetamine, alcohol is not. So
Mhm.
there's no point for the enemy to throw a meth at me. It's not going to work. So he's going to use the bait that's always worked for me. And he's going to use the bait
That's
for you,
right.
bait for you, bait for
Wow.
you.
That's
And the
It's true.
biggest thing is,
awesome way to look
just
at it.
knowing that the bait's always going to be there. We don't have
Mhm.
to take the bait either. And that's where sometimes having somebody else around with us to say, hey, it might look shiny, don't get it, because it could be your.
And it could be even the bait of like to lead you to the bait, meaning it could be a man or a woman
Yep.
or the bait to lead you to the bait.
A situation.
Does that even make sense?
And that's
Yeah.
why. So he's
Absolutely.
exactly right. It could either be relationships.
Yeah.
It could also, be substance.
Yeah.
But we have to be very
Very
vigilant,
careful because even like
cautious.
some people even think like I had a guy look at me the other day and was like, well, I can drink or I can do shrooms or I can do weed and I can do this or that. And I'm like, but you got to be careful because even though you think you can do that, I know the last time I relapsed, I had a drink that day, and then that drink led to another drink. And next thing you know, I was intoxicated. And then there was the line in front of me, and I ended up doing it
Yeah.
because my mind wasn't where it needed to be to, I'm not blaming it, but then again, I am because I wasn't in my right state of mind and I did the line.
And
It
it's a
can-
slippery slope. My
it can be as
sister.
easy as coming home, like Kimmy told us the other day, just coming back to Page County.
Yeah, you got to really be
Listen,
careful with stuff.
Speaking of coming back to Page County, Gabriella, shout out to my sister, she drew this to my attention. But I used to live in Vegas, okay, right before, and I was, doing very well. But I lived on Slipstream Street.
Mm.
She's like, look at you now living on Chapel Hill. And I'm like, there's no accident because
That is so
it's
cool.
a slippery slope when you start making excuses.
Well, it's
Yeah.
like you get to the edge, you're looking over and you keep looking over, and then eventually you just fall over.
Yeah.
I think it was what the old Linkin Park song, close to the edge, and I'm about to break. And that
Yeah.
thing of a lot of time we want to, and this I think is reality for all of us. From the pulpit to the pew to the house, is we think we're stronger than we are.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so what happens is we take fleshly weapons into a spiritual battle. And then you
Yes.
got the 7 sons of Sceva, right? Demon hunters on their, business card. And they're going out there and in the book of Acts, and they're going out looking for demons
Mhm.
to exercise out. And so they end up on this one guy who's demon possessed. And I love how it happens to be Matt Chandler too. He says, if you ever enter into a fight clothed and you leave naked and bloody, you officially lost. And so these 7 sons of Sceva pick a fight with the demon possessed man and literally leave naked and bloody.
Mm.
And they're like, in the name of Jesus and Paul, whatever. And they're like, the demons look at him, and basically the demons say, we know Jesus.
Yeah, they do.
We've heard
Mhm.
of Paul. Who the heck are you?
Yeah, I wouldn't want to play.
Yeah. And I think too many times we, even with recovery, I think we give ourselves too much credit.
Yeah,
Yes.
we
And
shouldn't.
I know that I need, brothers. I have my own accountability people. I have my own people who pour into me. I have my Paul.
Mhm.
I can't, if I don't have a Paul, then I really shouldn't have and I have a Barnabas.
Mhm.
But if I don't have that, I shouldn't have Timothy's, to pour out into, because it's like this cup which is now empty.
Explain
Right.
what's the Barnabas.
So they always said, for a healthy believer, you should always have a Paul, someone pouring into you. You should always have a Barnabas, someone who's going to encourage you. And you should always have a Timothy, someone you're pouring into. But if your cup's empty, like my coffee cup is now, I can't pour into anybody. It's kind of like, a lot of us are running on spiritual fumes, and even the lights on. I mean, God's given us all the indicators, and I think that we really need to have, kind of going back to what you said, healthy people in our lives. Not
Mhm.
perfect, because then you'll have no one,
Right.
Yeah,
but healthy
absolutely.
people.
That's right.
Because again, if we, and again, when I deal with even, the people I deal with, even when I went around the jail a couple weeks ago, I'd say all but like 2 were drug related. However, when we went around the room, here's a prime example. We were talking about the last 2 weeks, actually, anger. Like, how do we deal with anger?
Mhm.
There's an inmate whose daughter, her ex-husband tried to kill her.
Mm.
And he's like, if I see him on the street right now, I'm not in a place
Mhm.
where I'm going to handle that well,
Right.
and so we're
Right.
talking about justified anger. We're talking about letting God have the last word. And that's
Yeah.
hard.
And
when-
forgiveness.
forgiveness. And, because God's judicial system is not man's judicial
Yes.
system.
And it's a very
But
different way.
But God's wrath is God's wrath, and we should control ourselves so that God's allowed to give that.
Right. And so
Yeah.
even with that, like dealing with going back into even this, praising God in the storm, you see, are we gonna, here's a prime example. You look at the 2, you look at Peter and you look at Judas. Both of them sin, both of them reject God, and one goes to remorse.
Yes.
They both were remorseful, but one goes to resistance and one goes to repentance.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And so the question is where are we going to be?
Right.
And here's the other part. A lot of times
Repentance.
is God, when you relapse, God already knows.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Adam and Eve. He already knows
It's
where you
it's
are.
part of the story.
And he can empathize with it because he himself has carried it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and he's been tempted in all ways, yet not sin. You know, and talking about the high
And I'll
priest.
tell you somebody's story that I love too. If you haven't heard of it, is Joyce Meyer. With her, she is her story is really inspiring. She was, I'm pretty sure, like sexually, well,
Yes.
like raped
As a
by
yo-
her
Sexually assaulted by her dad.
assaulted by her dad growing up, her
Many
and
times.
many times. Now she's this huge, inspiring person. And she talks about that openly now. And her dad later she ended up helping, leading him to give his life to the Lord. And what she could have taken and held a bitterness her entire life towards, she ended up, helping him and forgiving him and guiding him. And now I think he's passed away and everything's, over, or not over with her, but she's chose to move past that and live a happy, healthy life. What an amazing human to look at and say, you know what, you did not allow that to ruin your life. You
Define
know what
her,
I'm
yeah.
saying?
And
Yeah.
she was a progress. I love this story she shared. She said, when God first started calling me to ministry, she said I would. She was living with somebody in an upstairs apartment somewhere. She didn't have much money, but she was going to do this. And she started going into people's homes, like
Mhm.
having Bible studies.
Yeah, yeah.
And she said, and I remember when I got out of the homes portion and I went to my first church, and there I was standing outside smoking my cigarette. This is Joyce Meyer's story now.
Mhm.
She said, I'm smoking my cigarette in my booty shorts.
Mhm.
And God was like, you need to, okay, we're going to work on the next step, Joyce. You need to throw that cigarette out.
Right, right. She's
Get
so
off of-
real.
take those booty
I
shorts
I
off.
love her
Puts his
because she's
pants
so
on.
real.
Yeah, good.
I'm gonna have you speak on that one.
Okay.
She's so real. She's so blunt, and she is just everything. Like when I first heard her message, I was like, "Girl, I love you,"
I do
because
too.
and I relate with her so much so. So yeah, shout out to
And
Joyce Meyer.
Read The Confident Mom. That was given to me as I became a new mom. It's written by Joyce Myers. This is simply for the women. It's not for men, but read The Confident Mom and get
Mhm.
good with your mess. Let God
I
get
like
in the
her.
middle of it.
I
And,
like her a lot.
So-
She's pretty cool. All right, so anything else about the table this morning? I think we had a very, very good morning this morning on our conversations.
And that
Very
story
good.
of the painting is going to stick with me, and I'll probably pass that forward
It's not
because that
mine.
that was really powerful for me. I love to stay peaceful in the storm.
Well,
Yes.
I'll share one more story. So, and then because I'm get 2 hours. I said you put me and Francesca on together. So this Bible, actually, I brought it on purpose. So this Bible, when we were in India, a buddy of mine, when we did international ministry at seminary, he was coming to India, and I said, I really want this journaling Bible. It's got like the lines on the edge. And he said, well, I'm going to be in Mumbai. And I said, well, actually, one of our teammates is going to be in Mumbai. Can you just pass it along? So I wanted a different, I ended up I have it now, but I wanted a different style, but this is all he could find. So he gets it to me. And then, so literally the first week, that I have it on our table. April's in the back. And then, a lot of us, I use colored pencils now when I do my markings, only because those gel pens sometimes stick pages, especially the thin ones. But I had the gel pen, those little gel highlighters. And I remember I had my Bible open, and then I went in the back, and then I came back out, and I came back to this artwork
Mhm.
in my Bible.
That's
Oh, look at all
beautiful.
those scribbles.
Look at that. That's
Aw.
cool.
So,
I love
I'll
it.
show that. Yeah,
Children.
yes, you can't see it, it's all white.
Yeah.
But anyways, she took every color Sienna on February 16th, 2018.
Oh, that's so
And
cool.
I've said every time I will have to be humble and say I was in my flesh when I saw this, and I was upset.
Mhm.
And then the Holy Spirit slapped me across the face and
That's
was
so
like, "Are you
cool.
more worried about the colors on the page or the words on the page?"
Right.
That is so
Aw.
sweet.
And so, like, even like, the question was, where is your focus? And that kind of would be like the sermon title of the Sermon on the Mount. Like, like I'm in right now the section we're talking about murder and hatred. It's not just the fruit of murder, it's the root of hatred.
Right.
Yes.
And where's your focus? Kind of like this, when we talk about struggling, where's our root?
Mhm.
and the winds of temptation are going to come.
Yeah.
You just don't, as Alex said, you don't have to fall into temptation. you
That's
know?
right.
And so even with that, but again, how many of us are on 1% and need to get away per
Mhm.
se
Yes.
to
Recharge.
recharge?
That's right.
Yeah, there you go.
So it reminds me of a story. My oldest is, let's see, at 19, 18, 19 years old. Or my youngest. And so it would have been 18, 17 years ago. I had a contract with a bank, and I cleaned even back then. And yeah, and I didn't have a babysitter back then, and I took her with me, and she was little, and I put her in a little room, a little space, and I was like, "Here's a pen and here's a paper. Stay here. I'm going to clean. Don't move." And I went and I did my thing, and she's over there, and I'm doing my thing, and I go to pick her up. She's in the same spot. So I throw the paper, and I'm taking the pen, and I'm like, "All right, let's go." And we go home. And like the very next day, they call me, and it's the first job I ever got fired from. And they're like, "We don't no longer need your services. Your little one that you brought to the job has drew all over our important papers over here." And I'm like, "What? She would never do that. She did not." And they're like, "Yes, she did." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, Lulu, I just got fired." I was devastated for weeks over it. Devastated. I didn't really know the Lord back then, so I couldn't blame anybody or anything. I just blamed her for weeks. I was like, "Lou, you've got mommy fired." So our little ones, aren't they sweet?
I remember when Leah was just months old, just learning how to stand. How old are they when they're that old? Like 4 or 5 months
Yeah.
old, right? Pulling themselves up. And I remember she just wouldn't quit crying. And I yelled out of anger. And I recognized that moment where I said, "There's something wrong with me."
Mm.
And
Yeah.
then from that day forward, I started saying, "God, please show me what's in me, because there's no reason somebody should lash out at her in anger."
Yeah.
And that's when actually things started turning for me very much. I started
Yeah.
watching Creflo Dollar. I started getting on TBN. I started feeling my life. And what God started showing me was I'm a hot mess.
Yeah.
I didn't only have
None of us
anger
are-
issues.
yeah,
Okay. I
we-
had other issues, but
We're all onions.
I
We're
think
on that potter's wheel.
But so often we need that moment of recognition. Like something needs to happen that we just lose it. And then hopefully we can self-reflect and say, "Okay, let me fix this. Let me
Yeah.
start working on me." And then I started going around and asking my closest family, "What do you see in me that bothers you
Yeah.
that I don't see in me?"
Well, I don't
And
want to ask nobody that about
I was
me.
gonna say, wow, I'm not that bold
I'm
either.
I did this.
I'm not there
right?
yet.
Just so I could grow.
They might be
They
the.
would want to.
They say what War
Look.
and Peace is the longest book that I think we might have on
This is why they've got to be healthy relationships. Don't just go asking anybody now. I mean, it's
On
gotta be-
Facebook. We're gonna do a Facebook poll.
I
Can you
can
do that?
hear
What's wrong with
everybody now.
Francesca?
Yeah, and please go
Let
ahead and
us
do
know
that
in the
since I'm not on
comments.
Facebook, so I won't read it.
Oh, we'll print it out. I'll bring the binder.
Oh, my
Pastor.
All right, guys. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the show this morning. Thank you all for coming out this morning and getting on the table with us. And I would like for anyone who wants to come out with us in the future, please hit us up and let us know. We would love to have you all come out and join the conversation. So, upcoming events. This coming Saturday, we have the breakfast here at the house. It starts at 8:30. We have a guest coming from Elkton, I think. A few of them are coming in for breakfast already. We have community breakfast sign up. If you are interested in signing up to come in to make the breakfast for the community, you can message me at 540-244-6065, and I would be happy to add you on our community breakfast list. If you are interested in coming in and doing the Bible study with the community on Saturdays, again, message me. I would love to put you on for that.
It's a good time.
It is. It's so much fun. We have about 15 to 20 people right now that are showing up. It's open to the community here at 270 West Main Street in Stanley. And then right after breakfast and Bible study, we come down and we pick 4 people to come on podcast with us. And then we go to ER Church on Saturdays. And that is, you can leave whenever you want. You don't have to stay the whole time, but that's just something that we've been doing every Saturday. And it's been pretty fun. And Valleys Rise Above, we just got a Cash App. So if you guys would like to donate to that, please go to Valleys Rise Above Cash App and do your donations. We're raising money right now for our our nonprofit to get a lawyer to help us to start with that. And we're also trying to get a bathroom added in here at the female home. Celebrate Recovery, that's on Monday nights. And it starts at 6 p.m. I want to clarify that while you're here with me.
So the doors open at 6 and we
Okay.
have a light meal, and then the meeting starts at 6:30.
Meeting at 6.
And then it ends at 8 for the guys, and then whenever the women stop.
Okay, gotcha. All right. And then
Whenever I caught it just now, he's right.
Right. Yeah.
But it's
And
okay
child-
because I go back in the childcare to help so the women
So
can have time.
we do have childcare there, right?
Yes,
Yes,
we do.
we
Okay.
do. And then we actually are starting like a Celebrate Recovery program in the children's, because again, a lot of them, you know,
Yeah, that's awesome.
and so so doors open at 6, light meal is provided. So there's fellowship from 6 to 6:30, and then
Mhm.
from 6:30 until 8-ish
Ish.
is it's over. And then
And one thing we do different there too that I love is we sing. You don't want to sing, you don't have to sing, but the fact that there's music there and we participate
Live
in that,
music. That's
yeah,
what I love
that's-
about it. It's
me
an
too.
actual, it's a guitar, it's
Mhm.
actual music, like drums and
Yep.
music.
and it's completely interactive. So sometimes it's testimony, sometimes it's a lesson, but it's never like you're being sitting in class. It's interactive. We have a great time. Come join the family. It does not have to be substance. You could have a gambling addiction, a food addiction, just whatever your hiccups are. Come on into the group and join us.
Yes, yes. And again, any type of addiction. So that's a beautiful thing. If you're struggling with nicotine, coffee, sugar, food,
Relationships.
relationships, whatever, come out and join Celebrate Recovery. And that is the same with Free Indeed on Tuesday nights at 6:30 on Newport Road. This is another event that is growing. Free Indeed was last night. That is an event that is it's pretty big right now. We need to share these nights because it is getting so big in the community. We are providing so much food that these events, we're actually asking the community to start helping out on these events with the food. So if you would like to help out with the food on Celebrate, would you like for me with Celebrate
Absolutely.
Recovery as well? So Celebrate Recovery or Free Indeed, if you feel led to help with the food at these events, please reach out to Pastor Tim or Pastor Dwayne Painter. Of course, they're going to take funds at these events, or they can take donations for food as well. I know for me, myself personally, I like getting when I'm able to get extra funds, I really like going to DNR's Quick Stops and getting the food from there to take. Yeah, like because you can get like the chicken, mashed potatoes, macaroni and cheese, green beans and stuff, and make it a huge community event for anyone to come out. I try to let everybody around here know when we're doing the food, because that's a good meal
It
for everybody.
is.
And y'all can bring your kids and everybody out. And it's fun to get with the community and have
and
fun
you're
things
supporting
like
the
that.
community too.
Yes.
Yeah, I like getting together with everybody. So, anyway, if you feel led to ever do that, y'all can even message me and I can organize it with them. So let me know. 23 West Main, that's an AA group at noon. I highly recommend you guys going out there, even if you're not in recovery and you just want to go out and just kind of dab into the AA world. They do 12-step program, which I think everyone in America should learn. It's really cool. So yeah, go out there. That's in the back of the building in Luray. Rec Center, shout out to Audrey and all the good things he's doing. And if you feel led to donate to him, it's at Cash App Living Legacy Luray. First Steps to Freedom, that's at 330 Shen Elk Plaza at 7 o'clock on Thursday nights. Another Thursday night one. That's at New Life Recovery at Grace Covenant in Harrisonburg at 6:30. The Hellfighters, we are doing an April 23rd event. I think it's a 4-night or a 4-day thing that we're going to do. It's called the Off-Road Group. We're going to be going to West Virginia. It is a ATV trail ride.
I dreamt about this last night.
I'm excited about it.
I did.
I don't know anything about the funds or where we ship the funds to or what we do about any of that yet. But
So-
when I find out, I will let you guys know.
Yep. You can text Andrea about that, or you can text me about that if you'd like to.
So funding, I need to
Because
find out.
it's the lodging. And then if you have your own ATVs and your own truck and trailers, you just hook them up, haul them out. If you need to rent them, we can put you onto the places that'll rent those to you also. But it's fun for the family.
I'm excited because we're gonna be like, we're gonna be getting away for 4 days.
I love it. We're
I mean, I'm
getting dirty with
excited.
Jesus because I mean
Yeah.
he's all in the outdoors, and there's just nothing like ATV riding. It's fun.
And then we have one other
Yeah,
big
two
event
other,
or
if it's
two other.
okay.
Yeah.
So we're looking for
Oh, here is my
volunteers.
little
Anybody's
paperette.
interested in the March for Jesus? I think you're gonna have a guest speaker soon. I think
Yeah, you
Patricia's
can
gonna
tell 'em.
come. Patricia's gonna come down and join the table and talk more to the group about that. I know
where my
she
paper
loves.
is from your mom.
That's okay. I know she loves her time with you, Pastor. I know you know her. Andrea knows. Everybody knows her.
Maybe you
here
can
at
come
this
back when she
table.
comes.
You got enough time for me and Patricia together?
Well, I mean, the only thing about the time is we want to try to keep our audience. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I
they
think-
only usually tune into us. Or
Well,
it's about a half an hour,
if you've
35
not
minutes
met
that we
my
can keep their
mother,
attention.
please come watch that show. She's a phenomenal, outspoken. She's a
Firecracker.
wild card. Yeah,
Yeah.
love her,
Yeah.
but a strong believer in Jesus Christ for sure. Long story short, 2024, we started our very first march here in the Valley. However, it's a global thing, been happening since the 80s. So what we really want to do is use people in any way, shape, or form that you can be used. If you simply just want to volunteer and do the marches, they're going to be in Luray, Stanley, and Shenandoah. We're looking at June the 7th at this point. But if you are a leader in your network, then you can reach other people. So we could use you in that fashion as well. I know the pastor is doing great things too. He's helped us. Not only announce it, I guess, to his congregation, but also let us use his facilities, so we can use you anyway. So that's the
yeah.
March for Jesus.
Voluntold.
Voluntold. Not by me. All right.
I love it.
Maybe I did. Okay. I won't lie. I won't lie on y'all.
You and your mom together.
I won't lie to you guys.
Laid it
right.
on thick.
I love her mom. I really do.
I
And
do
every time
too.
she sees me, she treats me just so super
Oh,
sweet.
she
I
is.
love
And
her.
I have put that woman through it.
And
I'm
she
not
still
gonna
loves-
kid
and she
you. Like
still loves you.
yes, she does.
That's a
I love
sweet
her.
mama.
Love you, mom. All right, let's talk about the Shenandoah Valley Jubilee, guys. We were talking about live music earlier. This is going to be an event you don't want to miss. But it's March 14th and the 15th. There will be separate services, a 9 a.m. and a 6:30 p.m. This is located at Page Valley Baptist Church. The address for GPS is 4567 US Highway 340, Luray, Virginia.
It's right before
22835.
Springfield.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Perfect.
didn't know. Okay.
Promised Land. That group will be singing Friday night. If you can't make Friday night, come out Saturday night and you're going to get to hear the Hensley family. They will be singing.
Awesome. Some super exciting things coming up, guys. If there's anything else super exciting that we need to know about, please message me and let me know. That's so far what we have for the community events coming up. Is there anything else we need to talk about?
We are at like 190 something
At
subscribers.
98.
If you
Come
guys,
on,
if
guys.
you guys have not liked and subscribed yet, please do so.
Yeah, help us
Thank you for all the support we get.
get over 200. I mean, we want to get like thousands.
We're so close
Yeah,
to
it's
we
2 million.
Yes. Yes.
almost 200. That's like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
That was good.
I had a great
Bye,
time.
everybody.
Thank you guys so much for coming out.